welcome all. Excited to have you. What a super exciting topic for us today. So let's get to the heart of it. We've got three terrific panelists that are going to really guide us in this conversation around RevOps today. And so I'd like to go through each of them individually and give you a little sense of their pedigree and their background. Let's start with Allison. Allison is the Executive Vice President at HubSpot. We also have Avi Engel. Avi's Chief Operating Officer of Rev Operations for Qualtrics. And then to round out our panel, Ben Kwan, Senior Vice President, Sales Strategy and Operations at Sumo Logic. Without any further ado, I'm going to let these key leaders kind of guide us in a discussion.
This is how we at HubSpot define RevOps. So it's really the process, the systems, and the people that control how your business generates revenue.
You know, my perspective on this question of what is RevOps is, it was sales ops, and sales ops was largely a tactical, keep the lights on type of reactive function. And I think it's evolved tremendously, over the years. That RevOps is a fundamental change in the way of thinking and not taking a vertical approach of marketing ops, sales ops, customer success ops. How do you organize your go-to-market organization so that you have the context behind the customer at every touch point in the customer journey, from the traditional kind of more siloed approach of here's a marketing organization, here's a pre-sales organization, here's a sales organization, here's a post-sales organization. That doesn't naturally lead itself to a very seamless, cohesive customer journey.
And I believe that your proofs of concept should be proofs of value. Your QBR should be quarterly business proofs of value again, right? Showing the value delivered. And that increased need for you to make sure that you are understanding every aspect of what the customer wants and how you're meeting their needs across departments is critically important for a SaaS company beyond just revenue.
I thought it was important to have some core principles that we would use to guide us in how we created and designed RevOps at HubSpot. So the first one is prioritizing customer in versus functionality. And so what ends up happening as you're growing and you're scaling, you start to slow down. And so I think it's important to build processes and systems in a way that help you to remain agile and nimble and to solve customer problems pretty quickly across your go-to-market teams. A great example is data. So before we unified RevOps, we had marketing ops, sales ops, and CS ops. And I could ask, teams that are working on building kind of data models, for all those. And I could ask any one of those teams, a simple question. Tell me the answer, what does this KPI look like? And I would get different answers from each team. Each team had their own definition of that KPI. Each team was pulling in their own unique sources of data to share what that KPI was, or a different data model. And so that's the inconsistencies that actually create more work and slow you down.
What would be one piece of advice that you could give a member in the community that may be early in their journey and want to start out the right way?
Having been in the situation multiple times myself, where I join a company or come in when several things are already broken, it's never too early to start thinking about RevOps, the mindset, the organization, the philosophy of RevOps.
You may have no ops, you may have lots of ops teams, and I think you just want to start getting aligned.
Customer journey, that's really important. What is the external journey your customer is taking, and therefore what do the internal GTM teams do to follow that journey?
Allison, Avi, Ben, a complete grateful thank you to all of you for sharing your wisdom, your experience, your journey with the community. So with that, thanks all for attending, and we'll talk down the road.